Hello bookworms! Welcome to my first wrap-up of 2018. I am changing the format of my wrap-ups, so I'm now going to be doing wrap-ups for every 5 books that I read. So these are the first 5 books that I read in 2018. I really like the idea of doing it this way better. We'll see how it works for me for the next couple of months, and if I hate it, then maybe I'll switch back to monthly, but I don't think that I will. And I've also been taking much better reading notes. It's just so much better. I feel so much more organized this year already. But anyway, you're here to hear about the books that I read, so here we go. The first book that I read is A Little Princess by Frances Hodgkin Burnett. This is the classic book that I was supposed to read in December, but I had a ton of library loans come off hold, so I ended up having to kind of keep pushing this aside so that I could read those before they would expire. So I made it a priority to read it as one of my first books in 2018, and I really enjoyed it. I seem to love children's classics. Those really just speak to me. This one follows a little girl named Sarah Crew, and she goes to a boarding school and she has a bunch of misfortune that befalls her. In the face of everything, she just stays so calm and cool and collected, and she's still kind. You really are rooting for her and hoping that things will turn around. I did not realize that Sarah is from India, and I thought that was really interesting, and it was really cool to have a character that didn't look like everyone else in her class. She just had a whole lot of charisma, and she seemed to be someone that people were drawn to. One thing that I particularly loved about her is that she automatically befriended the girl that everyone made fun of because she wanted her to feel comfortable, and she just is constantly offering her help, and she's there for anyone who needs her, and she's just nice to everyone. The thing that I admire most about Sarah is no matter how horrible people are to her, she really thinks about what she says, and she never lets herself lose her cool, and she has a really good outlook on rage, and I think everyone could take a page out of her book. And I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I reread The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I loved to pieces yet again. I want to say it was even better the second time around. Even though I knew everything that was going to happen, I felt on the edge of my seat when things were going on, and I was just oh my god, that's happening. Oh my god, this is gonna happen. I have heard now some people saying that they felt like the book was a little bit slower paced, and I did not find that this time around either. But I think it's because I'm so enthralled with fairies that I just love being in the world of the fae, and I didn't think anything there was not interesting. Everything that happened I thought was fascinating and really moved the plot along. I definitely picked up on some more clues that I kind of glossed over during my first read just because I knew what was coming, so I had a better idea of things to look for. It was really satisfying. I particularly just loved seeing how inhuman Jude had become from living in the Fae world for 7 years, the way that she changed so much, and how she probably would not be able to readjust to human life after everything that she has been through. She's kind of ruthless, and I love her so much. She's definitely one of the best female protagonists in YA. I really love her. I just loved all of the imagery and all the descriptions of everything that takes place in the world of Elfhame. I'm just so happy that I have this finished copy in my hands. It's so pretty, and there's this beautiful map in here which was not in the ARC version, so it was really cool to look at that and just reference some of the places that they were going. I obviously gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and actually while I'm talking about The Cruel Prince, now is a good time to show these, so hold on one second. So as you know, as I was reading The Cruel Prince, I took crazy notes on all of the scents because there were so many things mentioned that I was just I need candles for this book. So Shannon from CanterburyRoadCo made Cruel Prince candles. She came out with 3 of them in January, and I love all of them so much. First here I have Carden, The Cruel Prince. This one smells like dandelions, fairy wine, and thorns, and it is so delicious. Then of course we've got Jude, and this one smells like salt, elderflowers, and iron. And The Court of Shadows, and this one smells like darkness and wraithberries. I have been burning this one every single day since it has come in the mail. Actually, Shannon is currently having a giveaway where you can win these candles, so I will leave a link to that down below too in case you want to enter. And if you want to buy any of these candles, you can use my code, which is SuperspaceChick17. She also came up with a candle that says Ginny Weasley is our queen. This one smells like oranges, peppers, and chocolate toffee. It kind of smells like a citrusy Tootsie Roll to me. This one's also really delicious, and I love Ginny's hair on it. It's just so pretty. And then she also sent me A Million Junes. This is a limited one that she has in the shop. It smells like cherries, magic, and waterfalls. It's so sweet and so good. And now back to the wrap-up stuff. Sorry, I just had to talk about those because they're I love them so much. So next I read The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is a book that I have been meaning to read since last year, and I don't know why I never got to it. I just kept putting it off and putting it off. I loved this book so much. I was immediately invested in it just from the prologue because I used to be obsessed with Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Within it says, if you wish to bake an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. And that was like one of the, I might have been the first line of Cosmos, but there was like this remixed song of it that I used to love, and I would listen to it all the time. That immediately was just like, I love that. So I was really happy while I started reading it. So it follows a girl named Natasha whose family is getting deported. She has less than 24 hours to go until she has to leave. And it also follows a boy named Daniel whose parents are kind of pressuring him to go on this interview to an Ivy League school so that he can become a doctor, which is not at all what he wants to do. He wants to be an artist. Natasha is extremely scientific and she just lives by logic, and Daniel is an artist and he believes in things like fate and true love, and the two of them meet and it's just so cute. I normally don't like stories where people fall in love so quickly, but Nicole Yoon like really made this work. One of the things that I really liked about it too is that the way that it was told, even the minor characters had perspectives, and even inanimate objects and abstract feelings are given their own perspectives, which I thought was really unique. Because the story takes place over such a short period of time, I felt like that really added to why the story worked so well. And in the book, Daniel mentions this New York Times article that I had actually read like a couple of years ago about the way to fall in love. So he mentions it to Natasha. There's like a bunch of questions that you have to answer to each other, and then after it you look into each other's eyes for like 4 minutes straight, then you're sure to fall in love with each other. I thought that was really cool because I always thought that that was a really interesting article, and then to see it, like to see people carrying it out, I was really excited about that. But I thought this whole thing, as I said, was really well done. I really enjoyed it. I thought the narratives were wonderful, and I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore, and sadly this book didn't really work for me. I thought the premise of the book was interesting. It follows a group of cousins who all live together, and they have this garden, and all of them are able to make flowers like grow out of the ground, but all of the women are cursed, and if anybody falls in love too deeply, like any of the men that any of them have loved have all disappeared. So they're cursed and they try not to fall in love with people because they don't want anything to happen, but obviously it does. The premise reminded me a lot of The Careful Undressing of Love by Corey Ann Haydu. I think part of why I was challenged with this book was because I wasn't really invested in any of the characters. I was about halfway through the book and I was still having trouble determining which character was which character. There were like 5 main girls, and I really only could pinpoint the characteristics of like 2 of them. They were just kind of hard to distinguish from one another besides Estrella and Dahlia. I thought the writing was really beautiful and very whimsical, and I did enjoy that, and that's why I continued reading and I read it until the end. I did think the ending was beautiful, and I do like the way that the story came together, but overall it just wasn't that enjoyable for me, and I only ended up giving this one 2.5 stars. And then last I read Unearthed by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This follows Jules and Amelia, and both of them go to this planet called Gaia. Jules is there in order to get information and try to save the human race, and Amelia is there to loot the planet and try to make as much money she can off of the Undying's technology. So the two of them form an unlikely alliance, and they end up in this one temple that Jules's father believed would be the key to uncovering this second layer of code that was hidden in a message that civilization received from the Undying, which is the alien race. I found that this sci-fi novel was a lot easier for me to get into than some other ones that I have previously read. I was really interested in the mystery surrounding Gaia, and I really liked both characters, both Jules and Mia. I thought both of their perspectives, she's Amelia, but she goes by Mia, both of their perspectives were interesting, and I loved that they both had such different perspectives because Jules was like scholarly and logical, and Mia was more like hardcore, and she was the scavenger, but she had a lot of tricks up her sleeve. So despite Jules being the more intelligent one that studied the Undying for his entire life, Mia brought a lot to the table, and he would not have been able to solve as many of the puzzles in the temple as he did if he hadn't had her with him. The whole time that I was reading this, I just kept thinking about what a great film this would be. I just can picture all of the moments where everything was very tense. I think it would have been amplified if there was like dramatic music playing, and and like just to be able to see like how deserted the planet is and how things might seem like there's really no hope going forward. I think I would have really loved to see that on screen. I think that this would be an awesome movie. I thought this was a really great read and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. So those are the first 5 books that I read in January, and I'm already working on my next 5. I've got a couple more that I have finished, but I'm sticking to 5 per video. So let me know what you think of this new format. Let me know if you read any of the books that I mentioned. And that's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!